Former Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay is opening up a little more about her divorce from Brian Abasolo. Their divorce was finalized on January 7 after a year of negotiations. She was ordered to pay him $500,000 as part of their settlement. Now, she is speaking more about things that have been said about her over the past year. Keep reading to find out what she has to say. Rachel Lindsay slams critics. Former Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay opened up a bit more about her divorce on her podcast, Higher Learning. There are a few things she wanted to address now the divorce is officially finalized. She started out by saying, "I'm divorced, thank you God." Brian Abasolo lived in their home with her for 7 months after filing for divorce. When he moved out, she noted the divorce felt final to her. Now, she's glad it's all finally complete. She went on to say there is a lot she wants to say and she will soon. However, for now, she said there have been a lot of things being said about her that are not accurate. Rachel said, "There's so many things that I want to address, but this is all I'm gonna say right now. There comes a point in a divorce where you don't just have to be the bigger person. When someone is fighting you in this way and willing to die on every hill and not willing to compromise at all, for whatever reason they have, and I'll talk about that later, you have to, at one point, let go and just be the bigger person and prioritize what is most important to you." She admits she had to make concessions she didn't want to, but her peace of mind was more important. One thing she did say now is that the narrative that she was choosing her career over marriage and having a family was not true. She said, "Those things are emphatically so not true. And to see people run with that because it's the low-hanging fruit and it fits a certain stereotype was really hurtful, and I can't wait to fully talk about those things." Will she ever get married again? Rachel Lindsay also touched on whether or not she will ever get married again in the future. Right now, she says she can't even fathom the thought of getting married again. Rachel said she knew she would never get married again without a prenup. But she's not sure she would ever get married, period. It may not be in the cards for her at all. Her entire perspective on it all has changed after going through it all with Brian. Regardless, Rachel is glad her divorce is final and she can move forward. What will she say next? Stay tuned for more updates. Rachel Lindsay, known for her groundbreaking role as the first Black lead on The Bachelorette, has once again stepped into the spotlight. Not for a reality TV stint, but to address deeply personal struggles and public scrutiny surrounding her recent divorce. On January 7, 2025, Rachel finalized her divorce from Brian Abasolo after nearly 5 years of marriage. While her journey was marked by emotional challenges and relentless rumors, Rachel has emerged determined to tell her side of the story, silencing critics and reclaiming her narrative. Rachel and Brian's love story captured hearts during The Bachelorette Season 13. Their whirlwind romance, culminating in a proposal, seemed like a fairy tale ending. However, as Rachel candidly shared on her podcast Higher Learning, the reality of their relationship didn't align with the idyllic image portrayed on television. Over the past year, the couple's marital struggles became fodder for tabloids and social media gossip. Speculation ranged from career conflicts to personal incompatibilities. Rachel acknowledged the scrutiny, stating, "When you're in the public eye, people think they know your story. But most of the time, they don't know the half of it." In her first post-divorce podcast episode, Rachel addressed the swirling rumors with a mix of clarity and restraint. She opened the episode with a telling statement, "I'm divorced, thank you God." This declaration, while seemingly flippant, carried the weight of her journey through months of negotiations, public judgment, and emotional upheaval. One of the most persistent accusations Rachel faced was that she prioritized her career over her marriage and the possibility of starting a family. She adamantly refuted this narrative, calling it low-hanging fruit and a stereotype often imposed on successful women. "Those things are emphatically so not true," Rachel asserted. It's frustrating to see people weaponize my ambition and independence against me, as if women can't have both a career and a fulfilling personal life. Rachel explained that the root of the marital issues was far more complex than the simplistic career versus marriage trope. There were irreconcilable differences in how we viewed life and what we wanted from it, she said. When someone is unwilling to compromise, even on small things, you're left with no choice but to prioritize your peace of mind. Divorces are rarely simple, and Rachel's was no exception. According to court documents, Brian lived in their shared home for 7 months after filing for divorce. Rachel admitted that this prolonged cohabitation added an extra layer of difficulty. The day he moved out was the day I finally felt free, she shared. It was like a weight had been lifted. Financial negotiations were another sticking point. Rachel was ordered to pay Brian $500,000 as part of the settlement, a decision she described as a bitter pill to swallow. I didn't want to make certain concessions, but at the end of the day, my peace of mind was more valuable than any amount of money. Despite the challenges, Rachel emphasized the importance of taking the high road. When someone is willing to die on every hill, you have to decide what's worth fighting for, she said. Sometimes, being the bigger person is the only way to move forward. Being a public figure meant Rachel couldn't grieve her marriage privately. Every move, every statement, and every court filing was dissected by the media and fans. This constant scrutiny took a toll on her mental health. It's hard enough to go through a divorce, but to have your personal life become a public spectacle, it's exhausting, she said. Rachel also addressed the sexism and racial biases embedded in much of the commentary about her divorce. There's a double standard for women, especially Black women, in the public eye, she said. We're expected to be strong, to endure, to sacrifice, and when we choose ourselves, we're labeled selfish. Her ability to navigate these challenges with grace is a testament to her resilience. I've learned that you can't control what people say about you, but you can control how you respond, she said. And sometimes, the best response is no response at all. As Rachel moves forward, she's reevaluating her views on love, marriage, and what she wants out of life. Right now, the thought of getting married again feels unfathomable, she admitted. Marriage isn't off the table forever, but it's not something I'm actively seeking. If she were to consider marriage in the future, Rachel said a prenuptial agreement would be non-negotiable. I've learned the hard way that you have to protect yourself, she said. Love is beautiful, but it's not a substitute for financial and emotional security. Rachel's experience has also reshaped her understanding of what it means to be independent. For so long, I felt like I had to prove I could do it all, be a wife, have a career, please everyone. Now, I realize the only person I need to please is myself. Rachel's divorce has not only been a period of personal growth, but also an opportunity to inspire others. Through her podcast and public appearances, she's become an advocate for women prioritizing their well-being. If my story can help even one woman walk away from a situation that's no longer serving her, then it's worth it, she said. She's also channeling her energy into professional projects, including her podcast, writing, and advocacy work. This chapter of my life isn't about starting over, it's about starting fresh, she said. I'm excited to see what the future holds. As Rachel Lindsay steps into this new phase of her life, she's focused on healing, growth, and living authentically. Divorce isn't the end of the world, it's the end of a chapter, she said. And sometimes, the end of one chapter is the beginning of an even better one. While the road has been anything but easy, Rachel's journey is a powerful reminder that resilience, self-respect, and authenticity are the keys to overcoming life's challenges. I'm not defined by my divorce, she said. I'm defined by how I chose to rise above it. With her characteristic candor and courage, Rachel Lindsay continues to inspire fans and critics alike, proving that life after heartbreak can be just as fulfilling, if not more so than the fairy tale we once imagined.